Yeah, just want to know, Mickey, what do you think of me cat? Bathurst 1977. On there, Hardy Fredo 1000. So, Bathurst is a famous car race in Australia. October, early first or second weekend of October each year. Started off as series production racing. Now it's what they call supercars or V8. So I prefer it as called V8 supercars because still got V8 engines. They went away from, well, they've always had V8 engines, but they were going to use a V6, but they ended up dropping that. GM did, or Holden. Twin turbo V6, and they've kept in favour of the 5 litre V8. Now it's Ford V8 and Chevrolet V8. Racing quality engines. 5 litre, 650 horsepower. Everyone knows about V8s, but this cap, you'll see Bathurst 77. Well, this is a remake of Alan Moffat's famous victory. Alan Moffat, Jackie Hicks in the #1 car, and Colin Bond, which was Alan's teammate, Alan being the owner of the team. He's an old man now, or both of them are old men, in their late 70s, early 80s, or both in their 80s. Alan's just turned 80. But it was Alan Moffat and Jackie Hicks in the #1 car, XC Falcon 2-door, which was actually really built as a XB GT 2-door, but they just carried him over. He raced that particular chassis, I think, for 4 or 5 years, the #1 chassis. They didn't change him out like they do now. Massive racing history, that shell, that body. And so with the #2 car, which was Colin Bond and Alan Hamilton. Alan Hamilton was a good steerer, obviously not to the quality of the other three, as I understand, but a very good driver. But Alan Moffat, Colin Bond, Jackie Hicks, well, we don't even need to say, world class, amongst the very best in their field of their era, without a doubt. Alan Hamilton, I think he just raced a myriad of different cars in and around Australia, as I understand, but you don't even hear a lot about him. It's mainly you hear about Alan Moffat, Colin Bond and Jackie Hicks. #2 car on that particular day could have won. Alan Moffat had a brake issue with about 15 or 20 laps or whatever they left, but they succeeded to just drive around that far ahead. They pulled 2 or 3 laps or whatever on everyone else in second and third place. That far ahead, and they cruised around at 3/4, 8/10 pace. Alan was belting down Conrod Straight to whatever. They used to go to about 160 miles an hour back then, I think thereabouts, and and then he'd just back off, and I think he had his brakes were gone, but they had enough of a buffer to third place that they just cruised around, and there's a lot of famous photography of the Channel 7 helicopter in the air over the 2 cars hovering with 1-2, and their 1-2 as they finished, and their 1-2 numbered, and definitely probably greatest win for the Ford Motor Company at Bathurst ever. They're exciting now because with the pace car they're always close, but back then they just blew the competition into the weeds, absolutely blew everyone else. All the other Falcon drivers and the Holden drivers just blew them into the weeds in 77, which they got blown into the weeds in 78 and 79 in the same vehicles. And that was the Cobras in 78, and then was Alan, I think his other car he leased out to maybe Colin Bond or whoever, because by 79 Bondy wasn't driving for him. And Alan Moffat was in these Federation, well the 78 cars were Cobra, Falcon painted up Cobra, white and blue with 2 big blue stripes, beautiful cars. Bathurst specials too, the first 30 of them that come out were Bathurst specials of the production cars, of the road going cars. And they're worth a fortune now, 400,000-500,000 I think, if you can get one of what they call the legendary 30. And then Moff kept updating to they were called GS 500s in the last few years of their racing. Ford Falcon GS 500s. Before they were up into XB, they were Falcon GTs. But just homologation. They just keep putting homologation stuff on them, getting quicker. By that time, they weren't holding pace by 79 with the trainers. Rocky was very well funded. Other trainer teams were well funded. Rocky mainly was very popular. But yeah, 77 for Alan Moffat. I think it was probably the high point of his career too, for production touring cars. His Mustang, he'd won a lot, and he's won a lot in everything that he'd raced, but Mustang in particular, the Boss 302 1969 model. But I think for achievement, everything you ever hear from him and you read, 1977 was, you know, it was right up there, or I think it was the tops in his racing career, because just the coverage, the Australian and worldwide coverage that race got. But getting off that, that's this cat. That's the 1977 to commemorate that. Back then it was called the Hardy Fredo 1,000 kilometres. Now 1,000 kilometres, 1.6 miles is 1 kilometre. Hang on, sorry, 1.6 kilometres is 1 mile. So I think about 700 or 800 miles. That race back then, because they weren't near as quick as they are now. Now they sprint it flat from start to finish. Well, back then they had to baby the car, because clearly it was a production car and it was race car enhanced, but the car themselves are nothing like they are now. They're a serious, beautiful, I mean back then they were a beautiful bit of machinery, but, and I really like the look of the cars up until 84, what they call the Group C era, and the last of them, in my opinion, the best looking of the lot, the Commodores, with their big flares, and for me the Falcons, which were the XEs, massive flares, massive tyres. Run around there at about, I think around about 2 minutes and 20 seconds, or maybe a bit less in qualifying, maybe 2:17 in qualifying. That's before they put the kink in it. And yeah, so unbelievable racing as far as I'm concerned, and the strategy, I like the strategy and the team effort. But I'm a single person with how I go about a lot of things, but to me motor racing, it's a team sport, and everything's got to click. But getting back to the hillbilly thing, it's always a bit of a laugh at work. They think we're up here, up in the range, that we're hillbillies, whether they think we're backward or whether they think we do things we shouldn't. They actually might be right. But yeah, I was just saying in another video that if you're going to get on the wrong side of some families up here, it's actually a very bad move, because up here actually a lot of people are the older people, and I mean yes, I'm an older person now, heading towards 60, but as we go, my brothers and sisters and my cousins, male and female, and their kids. So when you say something about people in Maleny, or do something wrong with people in Maleny, of the originals, we'll call them the originals, you're actually taking on a lot more than you realise, because it's a massive network, and a lot of people don't even realise that just come here. I have relatives that run from here out into the flatlands of the other side of the range, and I'm talking wild fuckers, bloody wild fuckers, and I'll sit back and people will be saying something about someone, and guess what, they're a relative. Guess what, I don't say anything. Fucking guess what, it always gets back, and it's a pretty bad move doing that. So, like I say, in these small towns, some would say Appalachian style small towns, it's a pretty bad move running people down and doing things to people. And because one way or the other, they're going to run into more than they realise they could bite off. And also, if they're not related, they're generally pretty good friends. So it's interesting little town. But you know, that's getting back to the workforce of, I suppose, camaraderie. I think back, you see the government now trying to union bust. Everyone's on contract. Everyone's in massive debt. Things are just bloody tough all the way around, and there's always a plan. I think that a lot of people go, that those governments, they're fuckheads, they're idiots. And they're not idiots. It's like saying, oh, those hillbillies up in the hill are idiots. They're not idiots. Oh, they're inbred. Well, guess what? Some of them are inbred, I know. Because I won't say, but I know of inbreds up here. I won't say who they are. Hey? Oh, I'm just doing a video.
Ah, are you recording now?
Yeah,
Oh.
so you're on it.
Sorry. Well, I need to go out.
Yeah, you go. Oh, I'll shift my vehicle. Give me another minute. So yeah, that's how it is, and I actually quite like that. So you know, maybe, just maybe, a bit into breeding with maybe as well I've got anxiety. One never knows, and but I don't think so. But yeah, she's a bit of a laugh. But like I say, yeah, in these little towns, a lot of people mightn't realise, but it's very, very smart not to say smart-ass things about people, and very smart not to stand on people's toes, because what's that old saying? Be careful what you wish for. It's quite funny. But on that, that's my video, I'm done. This is what we've got. This is a comfy chair. It's Australia Day. Public holiday tomorrow. Ooh. We don't get many public holidays in Australia, contrary to what people like to believe, and from other countries. And Australians stick together, but not many do. And that's a fact. As much as I like to say, people don't stick together, and that's a very, very bad move. That's families, and that's also workmates. People do not stick together. Some still do. Sveno, Mick out.